this young man with way better hair than I will ever have. This is Nick Wolfer, for those who haven't had the pleasure of meeting him. A couple years ago, I shared with you guys a quote and a motto that I try to live by in my ministry life. It's by Augustine of Hippo, who said, "Work as if everything, or praise if everything depended upon God, work as if everything depended upon you." And I can honestly say that this young man to my right here fully exemplifies that motto. That he works as if everything literally does depend on him, to the point where sometimes I have to tell him it's okay to say no, Nick. It's okay to learn your inner no. Just really quickly, I'll go ahead and embarrass you a little bit here. For those who were here early tonight, you saw a video playing on the screen here. It was a highlight of our Momentum retreat that was back in February. Awesome video compilation put together, sharing some of the amazing events and amazing things that God did at our retreat. And to not just spontaneously come into being, that was the awesome work of this young man right here, with hours of filming and editing and carefully and intricately putting together. And just the impact that your work in doing that, and your work filming our student testimonies, for those who subscribe to our email newsletters are able to see those videos on a monthly basis, to be able to hear firsthand from students and share that medium, what God is doing in their life through the work of CA. It's made possible through you. I just thank you so much for using your gifts, using the gifts that God has given you to further His kingdom in so many ways. So thank you, brother. So I guess I'll turn it over to you here. Why don't you share a little bit briefly about what was your life like growing up here in Salem before you came to CA, before we had the pleasure of getting together? What brought you to this point?
Okay, well, I grew up in a Christian home, and I've been to several churches around Salem-Keizer, and I currently attend Salem First Church of the Nazarene. So I definitely had a faith background, and I actually knew several people going into Campus Ambassadors from different faith communities and also just school. And so going into Chemeketa, I kind of knew some people, but there was definitely a lot of people that I also didn't know.
That you now have the pleasure of getting to know.
Yes.
So that brings me to my next question. How did you find out about CA? What was your experience like getting involved?
Okay, well, I actually met Garrett one time bowling because my friend Ryan Alverson invited me, and I think Tanner was there, definitely playing with Garrett's son.
Showing everyone.
Yes.
Definitely.
That too.
Yep.
He's a bit of a bowling shark.
So, yeah, that's where I met Garrett, and then that was before I came to Chemeketa, but then I came to Chemeketa and I saw them tabling, and I was like, recognize those people. And Ryan definitely was nudging me to go to Campus Ambassadors. But I think what really got me was they had a question up on their whiteboard that said, "What is your weapon of choice in a zombie apocalypse?" And
We ask the deepest questions here at CA.
Yep, there was like crowbar and lightsaber, and I think if you're careful, I would definitely have chosen lightsaber. And so from there, Richard got me acquainted with Garrett, and am I going too far?
No,
with
you're
this?
fine.
And then I went through the discipleship training guide with Cameron West. So
Awesome. So describe, and you can only pick one, I realize this, but what's been your biggest joy over the last year being able to serve with CA? What's been something that you really just appreciated so much?
I would definitely say Rooted, which is the worship time on campus, and filming stuff, because I always enjoy that. And that was kind of my, backdoor entryway into Campus Ambassadors, because I'm not super outgoing, and so that kind of got me there and had something to do as I got to know the people. So that was definitely my biggest joy in serving, and but also meeting the people and seeing the genuine heart of Campus Ambassadors and all of their leaders and the students.
Awesome, thank you. So here's a question that someone might ask. So you mentioned that you grew up in a Christian home, grew up in a church background. Your parents are here, by the way. Hello, thank you for an awesome job in raising such wonderful gentlemen. So yay for that. So you mentioned you grew up in a Christian home, had a church background, you're involved with your congregation already, serving a lot. So what would you say to a student who may come from a position like you, who says, I'm already involved in church, I got a lot going on, I appreciate it, that's something good maybe for non-Christians or for students who have kind of slipped through the cracks, and and maybe come from a broken background, but that's not really for me. Well, how would you respond to that as somebody in that position? Why should you make time for this?
Well, I would say there's definitely a wide range of experience and, I guess, spiritual walk growth among the community. So it's not just, broken people or, like people who are just getting started with their faith or experienced people. I think everybody can take something away, and that there's a community and a relation, I guess a similarity, because we're all students and roughly the same age at Chemeketa, and so there's definitely a lot to gain from the relationships with other people, and like the discipleship training guide too, especially because like if you've been walking with the Lord and you're thinking of what's that next step, how can I get out there, you're kind of rooted in already a ministry circle, and so you can serve there on campus, which is a very cool opportunity. And you don't really have to go like out there, like where do I serve? Well, there's definitely a need on campus for that.
Yeah, you don't have to go very far to find people in need. So looking forward, just going ahead, taking the next step, how would you say that your ability to serve others and to make disciples from this point on has been uniquely impacted by your service and by your time with CA?
Well, kind of talked about it, or in the third person, but I was that guy that I was walking personally in my faith with God, and grew up in the church, but I had never really taken that outward step of now how do I impact other people, and how do I impact or lead people to Christ. And that's not coming from a standpoint of I'm there yet, because I haven't really started that. I think that's next year mostly. I'm hoping to meet with some students.
Oh, you will. I'll make sure of that, whether you want to or not.
Yes, with that training guide, because it's an awesome outline. But I think that's mostly what I've taken away from it, is it's encouraged me to get outside of myself with my relationship with God and actually use it to grow His kingdom and impact other people.
Nick, it's been a real pleasure and a joy and a privilege to get to know you and see how God's been moving in your life in the last year. And I am really excited that you're going to be back for another year. So we only get him for 2 years at Chemeketa. A lot of times it's a little bit sad. It's kind of like a turn and burn, but I am blessed that we're only halfway done. I'm excited to see what God has for you going forward in the fall.